Good morning, young kings. Time for your morning motivation. Um, got a word this morning. This is real life. I don't rehearse these things. After I get done running, I just press record, and you get the first things, the first fruit of my thoughts after the run. So this is not premeditated or something that's written down. Although I did think about this one yesterday, just because a real life event, meaning that today's morning motivation is that you will be tested. You will be tested during your journey to your goal to get over that obstacle. There will be a test out of each phase. So the morning motivation this morning is that if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So live a life for being prepared, live a life of readiness, and then you're already ready for opportunity to come your way. There's a saying that goes out there that talks about opportunities are never wasted. They're just transferred to people who are more prepared. So if you're not prepared for your blessing, for your opportunity, for your advancement, your promotion, that that promotion is not wasted. It's just been transferred. You transferred it to someone else that was more prepared. So, story. I got a few stories on this one. Um, Yesterday afternoon, I got an email telling me that I needed to take a physical fitness test in order for my promotion packet to go forward. And normally, we're going through COVID right now, so all fitness tests, all height and weights have been suspended because of the social distancing. And so, what's normally supposed to happen during this time is that your last passing fitness score is supposed to carry over for schools, promotions, and stuff of that nature. But however, that wasn't the case for me. They told me that I needed a fitness test. My last fitness test was in about 8 months ago, and it was on the borderline of expiring, meaning that I needed to take a fitness test within 8 months of a promotion. So they called me yesterday evening and said, hey, your promotion packet cannot go forward until you do a fitness test. And I replied, what are the thoughts? Is I'll take one in the morning. So live a life of preparedness, of staying ready. Those who've been watching this know that normally when I take a fitness test, I know ahead of time going into it that I'm going to take one, and I kind of rest my body for the week so I can have optimum performance during the fitness test. But this one came unannounced, but it was opportunity that I didn't want to pass. So I had ran like 4.5 miles on Monday. I did strengthening and core on Tuesday. Then I ran another 4 something miles on Wednesday, and I did strengthening and core on yesterday. So my body had really been pushed to the limits this week, and on top of that, had to turn around and do a fitness test this morning. Now, had I known that I was going to do a fitness test, I might not have went so hard this week. I might have just, decided to rest and stretch a little. But nevertheless, it's like during this COVID stuff, as I mentioned, this opportunity for people to slack off because they think they won't be tested. And so there's people I know that are not in the best optimal shape for something like a fitness test because they figure they got a break. So what would decide if you get your advancement or your promotion? It's like, what do you do when everybody else is resting? How are you building yourself up where others are sleeping, where others are being entertained? Are you being trained? You got to condition your body to go hard and to stay at it, and to make sure that you're on point and you're ready for whatever may come your way, because you don't know what may pop up. You know, I could have delayed my promotion, and who knows, it still may be delayed. But the thing, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't delayed because of me, of anything that I can control. So I go through life trying to control everything I can control. Heck, I try to control stuff I can't control. you know, I guess you could say I'm kind of a control freak, but I just like to have positive control of my future, of my destiny. I don't like to surrender it to other people. I like to keep positive control and make sure that what I do is in line with the results I wanted, and then I can continue to assess and address it and improve later. There's a saying out there that says, all you can do is all you can do. but you need to make sure that's all you can do. So, you go out and you give it your best and you do your all. And at times your all may not be good enough, but there's times that you just got to lay it all out. I know going through college, I wasn't the best student. There was a lot of subjects that I struggled in. And there's some classes that I got C's in that I gained a wealth of information and knowledge for, because of my starting point was like at a deficit, and going in not knowing anything about the subject and then coming out with C work, and I used to tell my kids, do your best. If it's the best you can do, then we'll celebrate it. But if you're doing less than your best, then we got to improve. So, they used to clean the rooms, and they used to want me to come check it. Man, the question before I even looked at it, I asked them, said, can you do better? 10 times out of 10, it's like, yeah, I probably could probably go under my bed or do this and do that. I said, well, go do it. Go do better. If you can do better, then go do better. I want to see your best. I don't want to see any less than your best. So you just got to make sure that you prepared. And like each step builds upon one another. Like what you're doing now is connected to what you may be doing tomorrow. I know a lot of times you go through school and you may be like, why am I learning this? I'm never going to use this again in my life. It's senseless, but sometimes just the process of learning is beneficial in itself. So got a story, as you know, I got a story for days. And lately, flight school has been on my mind. As I mentioned, that there's a lot of things that developed me through that process. So this story is about how I got to flight school. Originally, I commissioned as an ordnance officer. For those in that military, ordnance officer has to do with maintenance and ammunition and explosive. So that's what I originally commissioned back in 2002 as a second lieutenant as an ordnance officer. So when I went to my officer basic training, OBC, that was the focus of my my career path, was maintenance and ammunition. So I'm going through this phase and I'm thinking, man, all these classes, they talking about the axis and pulleys. If I pull this one this way, what is the result on C? And I'm going through and learning this stuff, and I was like, man, I would never again use this stuff in my life. Why are they having me go through this? And it got to a point where sometimes you get frustrated with learning when you don't see the benefit connected to it. But I think the Most High, sometimes he hides things from you. He doesn't reveal everything to you at once. Like when he told Abraham, he said, go to a land I will show you. He didn't say, you're going to travel 15 miles, go this way, go that way, and then you're going to see this, you're going to see that. He just wanted him to act on faith, even with him not knowing where he was going. So sometimes you just got to pursue what it is that you're supposed to be doing without knowing where you may be going. So I got through the ordnance OBC, and I graduated with superior remarks, studying, making sure that I was advanced and make sure my understanding was there, spending nights studying and going through the library to make sure I understood it. And I graduated with superior remarks. And I remember getting back to Michigan, and I had to report to work and had my certificate of completion from school, and I submitted it to my boss. Back it's Colonel Jones, but back then it was Major Jones. Apologize if I'm not supposed to be name dropping, but anyways, she was my boss, and I submitted it to her. She gave me all kind of accolades, like, hey, congratulations, good job. Not only did you go and finish it, but you excelled. But she wanted to make sure that she continued to develop me. And this is, remind you, this is my first day back to work after school. She said, we got a readiness meeting, and you're a lieutenant, you're gonna need to be a part of these meetings sometime. So I just want you to come, sit in the back of the room, don't say a word, just listen to how commanders speak, how they articulate their readiness and their thoughts to the commander, and you just sit back there and observe, and we'll talk about it afterwards. And this was my, she was my boss, but my brigade commander, the high commander, was there as well. And she's going around the horn to go around the circle to all the subordinate commanders, and they're talking about their readiness and some of the struggles they're having in school and getting their slots filled. So everybody's going around, and the numbers weren't the greatest. And she comes around to aviation, and the lieutenant colonel stands up, and he starts to articulate, we're really struggling with finding pilots. And she was like, I don't think you're working hard enough. I think there's qualified people out there. And he was like, no, ma'am, Um, it's difficult. You know, we're in aviation, so we just can't take anybody off the street. We got to make sure that they're prepared, they're ready, they have a skill set necessary to fly safely and do all these things. So she looked at him and she's like, still, I think we got qualified people there. And you need to increase your search. And he said, ma'am, I'm trying to explain to you, it's not that easy. So she says, she looks at me in the corner. She said, look, you see a lieutenant in the corner? And I'm sitting in the corner. I'm just like, wow. She pointed at me. She said, you see that lieutenant in that corner? He just graduated OBC. He has superior remarks on his certificate of completion. Why don't you test him? And he's like, ma'am, it's not easy. There's certain things you got to do. She says, test him. He said, ma'am, well, to go to school, you need a 90 on the test. But we don't send anybody to school with less than 100. And she said, I said, test him. So bottom line, about 2 weeks later, she looks at me, she says, Lieutenant, you want to go to flight school? I said, yes, ma'am, I'll go to flight school. And that was the only question. Like, I wasn't even supposed to be in this meeting. So I said yes, and she said, well, get with them afterwards and see the requirements. If you meet the requirements, you're going to flight school. So I get with them afterwards, call their admin, try to figure out what's going on, when I need to take the test. And they say, he reiterated what he told the boss. He said, look, it takes a minimum of 90 to go to school, but we don't send anybody with less than 100. So if you score less than 100, then we won't send you to school, because we need to make sure the people we send, they're going to graduate. It costs over $500,000 to send people to school. We can't afford to waste it. So they test me about 2 weeks after this meeting, and test results came back, and I got 117. So obviously the commander was like, send them to flight school. And she's like, well, we'll see when the slot comes available. So from the time that I went to that meeting to the time I went to flight school was probably like, about 3 or 4 months. And there's people that's been waiting like years to get into a slot for flight school. And that's what it means about being ready and being prepared for your blessing. Meaning that the things that they had on that test to test my aptitude of if I could fly were so similar to the things that I had just experienced in Ordnance OBC. The pulleys, if I pull A, what was the response on B, and what's the effect on C? And I was like, man, when I was going through it in Ordnance OBC, I was thinking I would never use this stuff again. Now here it is, just a few weeks from taking that test and days after graduating, reporting to work, and I had to put to use immediately the thing that I didn't want to learn back then. Now, how had I resisted and not been prepared, or just went through the minimum of trying to understand that, I would have never been able to take advantage of the opportunity that was presented to me. So sometimes the steps that you're going through right now is connected to the step you may need to do in the future. So you got to make sure that you have the same level of intensity behind the things that seems ordinary or irrelevant, because it may become a time where it's essential for it to be relevant and for you to know it, for it to be essential to your development. When it comes to pursuing your goals, this ain't no person left behind like they do in the school system. This is something you got to continue to work for. Like, there's rites of passage to accomplishing your goals. Like, if you don't pass, then you repeat that class. I failed the second grade, so I went from failing the second grade, to being dedicated and getting a bachelor's degree, getting a master's degree, flying, and now celebrating 26 years in the service. And just took a fitness test this morning. Now, my time wasn't the greatest. I ran the 2 miles in 16 minutes and 5 seconds. But I remember when I was young, I used to run that thing in 11 minutes and 52 seconds. But, back then I was 18, 19 years old. Now I'm 45, still running in the 16:05, which is a great time. So they say proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. So what you're doing in the closet and behind the scene will really be shown in light. So are you preparing yourself for your next opportunity? Are you taking an extended break because it's not required for you to do something right now? So you're saying, well, I need to rest. And I know y'all see these bags under my eye. I got to get better at rest. I don't get much sleep. My mind just continues to run, and I know rest is important. I'm not diminishing the importance of rest, but they said RIP, they said rest in peace. So I'm gonna catch up on sleep when I'm dead. But until then, I gotta grind. There may be times where I get a little more sleep, but for me, my body feels like if it's day, I need to be up. So I could stay up, to 2, 3 in the morning, and then still turn around and get up at 6:30 to go run or to do something. Like I can't sit in the bed because I feel like I'm sleeping my life away. Like I need to get up, I need to be active. Even if I'm not doing something, I just got to get out the bed. It feels like it's like that bed is a prison cell. It's like it's stealing my dreams. It's stealing my opportunities away from me from being able to be the best I can be. So make sure that you're doing all you can do. Remember, all you can do is all you can do. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So there's opportunities out there that are for you. But if you're not ready for it, then they're going to be transferred to someone else. So I encourage you today, where no one's looking, while it seems like it's okay to take a break, it's okay to pause. Just make sure it's not an extended one. Make sure that that pause, it doesn't become a way of life. That it's time for you to work hard to get at it and to really stay focused. So you will be tested, and you may not get an advance notice of that testing, but that testing may determine if you get that promotion. So just remember that. I encourage you this morning to do something to improve yourself. If it's read a book, if it's running, or do something. But get active, stay fit, stay healthy, and stay grinding. Have a great day.